What is going on, everyone? Just the Buzz here. If you're new to the channel, I make Charlotte Hornets content, so if that interests you, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. I'm at 803, need 197 more in order to get to the 1,000 mark, so go ahead and help me out. If you cannot tell by the thumbnail title of this video, in today's video, we're going to be talking about my favorite pick at every Hornets pick. So every single pick that the Hornets have, they have, they have a top 4 pick, 27, 34, 39, and 41. So 5 picks overall. I use Tankathon to sim the lottery in order to give us the, in this case, spoiler alert, the second overall pick. So once we got that pick, it's going to be my favorite picks at each of those picks. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the video. So at the number 2 overall pick, my favorite pick for the Charlotte Hornets would be Scoot Henderson. I do not think Brandon Miller is better than Scoot Henderson, first and foremost. That's the main point. We don't even have to talk about how I feel like Scoot Henderson does fit LaMelo well, because I know Scoot Henderson is only 6'2", but he complements LaMelo very well, actually. We don't even have to talk about that in order for me to say Scoot Henderson is just a better player than Brandon Miller. Now, when it comes to the Charlotte Hornets and why the Charlotte Hornets should take Scoot Henderson, their personal reasons. He does pair well with LaMelo offensively and defensively. He's able to guard all the guard positions. He's a very pesky defender. So even though he is 6'2", he doesn't play like he is 6'2". That's something you have to look at with him. He's very strong, so he's not going to let taller guards just bully him. I think he can compare with LaMelo. He has long arms. He's quick. He's athletic. All these things make for a good defender when it comes to the tools. All it really just needs to take is the effort. Yes, he could have more height, but he has literally everything else. If it just comes with effort, then I think he'll be fine, especially in this day and age with a lot of guards aren't really even taking people to the basket anymore. A lot of it's just threes. He can be a secondary ball handler. The Hornets desperately need a secondary ball handler. LaMelo can't ball handle all the time. I know we have Dennis Smith Jr., kind of, maybe. I don't know. He's a free agent this year, so we'll see where that goes. But there's still not enough. And with Terry does have games where he makes pretty well. However, he's not that great of a playmaker, and he doesn't really run the offense that well. We need someone that can run the offense pretty well, and that is Scoot Henderson. Because in this case, he will be our 2 guard, even though he is normally a point guard. He's just not your traditional point guard. Nothing wrong with that, especially considering we already have LaMelo. Another thing that Scoot Henderson does, and probably my favorite thing, is that, one, he's just athletic and quick, like I mentioned earlier, so that goes with the fast break mentality that the Hornets have. They want to catch teams off guard, hopefully cause a turnover, and then run the break. That's how the Hornets want to play. They want to play as quick as possible. Scoot Henderson fits that, as well as he provides a lot of rim pressure. Without Miles Bridges, this team did not have someone that can really attack the basket. LaMelo can, although ability to, he doesn't. And I think a part of it is injury, but that's a topic for another day. We don't really have anyone. Terry does pretty well, all things considered, but it's just we don't really have someone to attack the basket without Miles. And now this year we're more likely going to have Miles, but it would be nice to add someone else, and that someone else would be Scoot Henderson, who is just as tenacious as Miles Bridges is when it comes to attacking the basket, trying to finish at the hole. He's going to take on defenders, and he's probably going to finish just because he can take contact well. With Scoot Henderson providing that, I think that would just be a great pick at 2. I don't really see why the Hornets would get Brandon Miller. Not saying Brandon Miller isn't good. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that I would rather have Scoot Henderson personally for the Charlotte Hornets if they get the second overall pick. At 27, we have Kula Bali. He is a French player. He actually plays with Victor Wembanyama. So while we weren't unable to get Victor Wembanyama in this certain draft sim, we were able to get Kula Bali. I'm going to keep messing it up, but hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. But Kula Bali, hopefully we can get him, because he is someone who is a two-way wing. I already like that about him. He's a good two-way wing. He scores pretty efficiently, but he doesn't need the ball in his hand. He's always looking to make the best play available. It doesn't matter whether he's scoring, doesn't matter whether he's passing, no matter if it's a hockey assist, he's going to try to make the best play available. And I think that's very important, because the Charlotte Hornets, a lot of our best players, their game depends on if they're scoring or not. There's not really anything else outside of that with our best players. And I will say, I have a video about that coming out actually, but yeah, I will say that that's something that the team really struggles with. They don't have too many guys who, all right, my shot's not falling. What else can I do for this team? But Lil Kula Bali does not need the ball in his hand is that to make an impact on the game. So I think he's going to be a good player in the NBA early on. Like I said, he's already playing professional basketball overseas in France. But I think everything about his game is something that the Charlotte Hornets could really need, to have someone that really can make that much of an impact without the ball in his hand. But he can score, because we have guys like Dennis Smith Jr., but he can't. He's not a reliable scorer. At 34, we have Daron Holmes. If you're new to the channel, I talk about Daron Holmes a lot. I have a lot of stock in Daron Holmes. He's a cheaper version of PJ. He cannot shoot like PJ, but everything else he does pretty well. He's a better rebounder than PJ. He's more of a physical defender. I think PJ is better at defending the perimeter than Daron Holmes is. However, Daron Holmes is better at defending the paint. And I know that you're sacrificing one for the other, but Daron, I think he shows the possibility of him being able to get out there on the perimeter and defend. So I'm not too concerned about that, even though I do get you're giving up perimeter defense for kind of more paint defense. But I mean, he can guard anywhere with, and that's not the 3-point line pretty well. So I'm not too concerned with that. Also, his playmaking, he's a pretty good playmaker for someone his size, which with the way the Charlotte Hornets play, it's important to have playmaking from all positions. So it doesn't need to necessarily just be LaMelo doing all the playmaking. As we just said, we need more ball handlers. And while Daron Holmes is not going to be the guy who's going to run the offense, I can see him pulling a rebound off the glass and then running a break from there. And I think, we'll have a good finish. So I think Daron Holmes is just very good for the Charlotte Hornets at 34. He could go earlier. I think with the testing, it's very possible once he tests and once more people see him play, he could shoot up draft boards. But as of right now, based on Tankathon, they have him in this kind of area. So if I were picking for the Charlotte Hornets, I would pick Daron Holmes. As of right now, it could easily change. And also, I'm trying to base these picks based on the previous pick as well. So, for example, if we don't get Scoot, then all of this kind of changes. So definitely, I would pick Daron Holmes if this scenario played out. Here we are at 39 with Julian Strother. Now with this one, I 100% get if you're saying he doesn't do anything else really outside of scoring. And he's a pretty good rebounder for his position. And I know I just said that about the Charlotte Hornets, where we need more people that can do a little bit more everything when their shot's not falling. That's not Julian Strother. However, my point is he is a really good shooter. He shot 37% last year from three, and then this year for Gonzaga, he shot I think it was 41% from three. So he is a true sniper, and we do not have that at all. So we have guys, and I say it all the time, we have guys that can shoot, but we don't have shooters. This guy is a shooter. So I think he fills a role for us that we desperately need, especially he really going to catch and shoot, which we take a lot of dribble, and then just pull-ups. He is a very good catch and shoot guy, and we desperately need that. So I think that's why he plays a role in here. And I completely get if you're saying, oh, well, he can't do this, he's not that good of a defender. But like I said, he rebounds pretty well, which is good considering we team rebound a lot, even with Mark Williams. And he makes it easier for those guys. He may not be able to get the rebound, but LaMelo, whoever it is. But also, I think that for all the people saying they want Emoni Bates, they don't quite play the same. However, we would be drafting Emoni Bates for his ability to score and shoot. I would rather go with Julian Strother just because he is a way more. I think he has a higher shot IQ, and also I just believe that he just makes more of his shots. The numbers don't lie. And lastly, and I really don't expect the Hornets to keep all these picks, and lastly, we have Kobe Brown at 41. He can go literally anywhere from 30 to 41. It's going to be really hard to kind of gauge where he goes, and also I know he doesn't really play defense. He's not like this defensive stopper or anything like that. He is a scorer. That is what he does. He's just one of the better scorers in the draft. He's one of the most efficient scorers in the draft. And once again, at this point, we're literally, and even for 39, we're basically in the 40s at this point out of a 60. Well, I think this year's the 58 pick draft. So this is where you can kind of start taking flyers. And I know that even on this channel, I preach all the time how the Hornets need defense or two-way players and things like that. And these last two picks are not two-way players. However, they're not like the other guys, because the other guys, they're scorers. That was their best ability. That was sometimes their only ability. You got guys like I said, Terry Rozier, Kelly Oubre, Gordon Hayward at this point in his career. Sometimes is just very limited once he's not able to score. These guys, they're just able to score. They're not really able to provide much playmaking or anything like that, even though Kobe Brown is a decent rebounder, and also he plays the break really well, being able to launch the ball across the court. But my whole point of picking him is he's just efficient, and that's something we don't have. We have guys like James Bouknight, like Bryce McGowan's. We have guys like that can create shots for themselves, get to the basket sometimes when they want to, be able to pull up from three. We kind of, even sometimes run the offense. But none of those guys are that efficient. At Bryce McGowan, it takes time. We don't know what's going on with James Bouknight, even though he did look better towards the end of the season. Kobe Brown, Julian Strother, these guys are just efficient, and we just need efficient scores. Why not take Flyers at the end, basically at the end of the draft? You're still getting quality players. The other guys who play deep, like you have some guys in here who could play defense, but it's not really enough. It's not really good enough to basically justify passing on these two. Even though I do like Jalen Clark from UCLA, however, I really see him. However, I do really like Jalen Clark from UCLA. However, I just didn't think. I think it still would be a little too early for him, even though he is one of my guys in this upcoming draft. Based on this scenario, what would you do? Let me know down in the comment section below. Like I said, the picks we have are 2, 27, 34, 39, and 41. So go ahead and put in the comment section what you would do at each of these picks. I kind of tried to pick people who were like in the tankathons 5 to 10 range. So like, let's say Kobe Brown was 47. So it was like, okay, well, 41 is not bad. Or Julian Strother, I think he was like at 33, so he was a little higher than 39. I didn't want to quite take him at 34 and pass up on Daron Holmes, but I was like, Julian Strother, I could see him falling, going up. I could see him going down. So that's kind of just try how I base it. So make sure you kind of stay in that range to make it somewhat realistic, because we know how these draft things go sometimes. But yeah, I definitely am interested to see who you want the Charlotte Hornets to pick. This is just ideal. A lot of this depends on our lottery pick. Where does that land? Who do we get there? Then the rest of the draft kind of fills its way out. I might do one more of these before the lottery, but definitely doing probably one after the lottery, of course, because we'll know what that pick is. Once again, subscribe. Make sure you like the video. That's the best way you can help me and the channel, because I'm so much closer of being able to do this like as my career. So thank you so much for just all the support. And I plan on having just so much content for you. I'm actually about to record another video now after I charge my camera. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.